Good afternoon, everybody. This is Sean from our DIY garden, and it's a cold day here in North Texas, so I'm staying inside, and I am doing what every gardener in the world's doing right now. I am looking at some seeds, and if you can see behind me, I made a pot of chili for tonight, and just kind of settling into the seed beginning business here. And so, I've just been thinking about this, and there is so much good content out there about, seed starting, where should you start your seeds, how many seeds do you need to start to feed your family for a year? This is really good information. It's all good information. I've taken webinars and classes on all of these types of things. But there's one piece of the puzzle that I feel is still missing, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. And you're out there in your garden, you've started your seeds, your garden's looking great, you're doing a wonderful job, and all of a sudden these seeds start producing produce, which is a wonderful thing. But what are you going to do with it, And that's where I think that maybe we need to look for ahead for is what are we going to do with all of the produce from this garden that you've started? And if you're new, I know it's a scary thought. I've been gardening most of my life, and it's still, sometimes I've got to just kind of slow it down and make decisions on what I'm going to do with each product. And I just want to show you some of the ways that I save my produce. I preserve our fruits and vegetables, and I'm not saying one's better than the other one, and I don't even have all of them. There's something out there that I would really like to get, but let me turn the camera around and I'll show you the different things that I use to preserve our garden feast. So the first way I preserve the garden produce is by canning. And there's two different types of canning methods. There is the water bath method here, and that is great for if you want to do jams, jellies, anything with a low acid count. And it's probably the introductory way of canning for most folks. Now, there is the other way called the pressure canner. You can see it there. And this is when you want to do anything with a meat or anything with a high acid count. And a lot of people who walk into canning are a little bit hesitant to use these, but they're relatively safe if you just follow some directions. And speaking of directions, I think the most important thing for canning is for us to get the Ball Blue Book. Now this is an old one. I have to go buy a newer one. But this book is basically my Bible for canning. A lot of new people get in and they start getting on Facebook and asking people, can I do this and this and this? Listen, the best piece of advice I can give anybody who wants to learn how to can is go and get a Ball Blue Book. You can get it from Walmart. You can get, I see them at the Goodwill stores all the time. So just let that be the first thing you get, okay? And also canning jars. Now, because of the pandemic, lately finding canning jars and canning lids has been a little, well, it's been hard to find them, frankly. So if you think you're going to can and you don't have any of these things, start right now looking for them. And they are easy to find right now in my area. Now, something I'm going to do this year that I've never done before is I'm going to get the Tattler lids where you can reuse them. And as soon as I get them in, I'm going to play around with them and I'll make a video about that. So that is canning. That's one way to preserve your produce. Frankly, for me, it's what I use the most in in preserving my produce. There we go. Now I have a vacuum sealer, and this is great. There's bags, and you can suck up the air out of them. I even have the handy dandy little thing here that you can put on a canning lid and suck the air out of it. Now this does not say keep your produce safe as long as a canning jar would that's gone through the canning process, but it's a great little way to preserve some food. Like I do a lot of dried fruit, and I'll put the dry fruit in like a canning jar here, and then just stick this up here, and it will suck all the air out of that jar. And we use, we eat all of the fruit before anything happens to it. So I consider this part of the process of saving my produce as well. Another thing I use a lot is our dehydrator. This is great for so many things. I can't even name. I'm just trying to think of something that it wouldn't work for. I mean, I do it with my fruits and vegetables. My husband does it for his jerky. It's just a great little tool that we use a lot to save the produce from the garden. So those are, let's see, we got the canning, we've got the vacuum sealer, and we've got the dehydrator. Now, if you don't have some of these things, no problem. Like the dehydrator, if you don't have it, you can use your oven on low. And our little ball book talks about how to do that. So that's why I love this ball book. It's just full of information, and we've never gotten sick because I do follow the directions, because I don't want to make anybody sick. That would be the joke of our family for the rest of my life if that happened. But so the one thing that it's just come onto the market the last few years, well, not the last few years, I think it's just come into the home preserver the last few years, and that is the freeze dryer. And I mean, it's supposed to save food for up to 20 years or something like that. So I really want one of those, but it's just not meant to be right now. So I really hope that this helps you. I really hope that this becomes one of the questions that you ask yourself in the very beginning when you're pulling out these seeds, and you're asking yourself all these other important questions like, when should I start these seeds? Where to start them, inside or outside? How much do I need to start to feed my family? And then I hope the next question is, how am I going to preserve this? Do I need to go get some more canning jars? Do I need to go buy another process, whether it be a pressure canner or a dehydrator? So just add that question and solve that situation before you start, just like you would all these other situations. So that's it, my friends. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave a message down below, and I will be more than happy to help you if I can. And happy gardening. Bye-bye.